Yes?
I have a petition here to stop the Space Channel from showing so much Star Trek. Could I please get your signature?
What show?
Star Trek.
Do they play Magnum P.I.?
No, ma'am. They don't. They play Star Trek. The only people that watch this crap live in their basement and have no lives. They wear stupid costumes, go to conventions, and call themselves captain and stuff. It's gotta stop, and will you please sign my petition?
Well, I still don't know what you're talking about, but I'll get my son to sign for you. Gary, get up here, dear. He lives in the basement. Such a nice boy.
Butak!
Are you okay?
I'm fine. Kapla!
Doha Jopadak Hasta. Charkum Raj.
It's 7 p.m. Do you know where your tribbles are?
Because of the following special program, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers will not be presented this evening.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Federation Friday, TGIFF. Good evening, Marty. How are you?
Doing well, John. How about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. That intro is getting longer and longer every week, isn't it?
I'm loving it, but I would like to point out I'm coming to you from my own basement, not my parents' basement. So, there.
Okay, you've won up to us.
Okay.
When was the last time you saw that spot?
Oh, my God. It's got to be at least 20 years ago.
Yeah,
at
space. What did the Space Channel turn into? Didn't it turn into... It didn't turn into sci-fi, did it? No, because sci-fi...
No, space was the Canadian sci-fi.
Oh, was it? Okay. Because
Yeah.
I remember it being down here.
It was for a while. I think Cablevision had it for a little bit, along with another Canadian channel. I forget which one it was, but yeah, it didn't last long down here. Only reason I know that, when I travel for business up in Canada, it's still running.
Oh, Space Channel is still on? Or Star Trek? Did they just show Star Trek?
Yeah, no, they were playing X-Files, I think, when I was up there.
Okay, so the petition worked.
It did. They finally got a couple of signatures. So.
Okay.
Well, you know, Canada, very progressive.
That's it. Yeah, they're years ahead of us.
Mm.
So, well, tonight's episode is probably, we're gonna, I have a lot of slides, but because this episode was really good. I like this one.
I forgot how much I liked this one on rewatch, and to me, the performances across the board carry this episode. Everybody is swinging for the fence, and unlike a team locally here I won't mention, they hit home runs out of the park every time.
Yeah, I mean, it was so enjoyable to watch, and I think I tweeted about it and mentioned that it's nice to watch Star Trek that has a story and interesting characters, and I mean, it was just great. I wish the rest of the crew were here tonight, but Debbie has gone to the dark side. Apparently, her other show on Geek News Now, I don't even know what the Cantina Happy Hour. Apparently, his host, the host over there, fell asleep last night and forgot they had a show. So it was a really good happy hour. And she's over there tonight, and Bill is still on location shooting a Star Trek movie, I heard. So
Yeah, I saw that message come over.
yeah, I can't wait to talk to him about it, and I want to see Debbie's all the pictures she took from the convention last week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
right.
so yeah, she had the convention last week, and if she ever gets back from Riza and the cantina, we'll talk to her then. But as for right now, you have me and you have Marty, which let's just face it, this is, I mean, you got a 50% chance at a laugh tonight.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair odds. Yeah, never tell me the odds.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. So this week's episode was Dagger of the Mind, and for some reason I thought it was way back 2 weeks ago when we were here. I thought it was. See, I can't even remember what I thought. I thought it was the one with the Balance of Terror.
Oh, okay. I could see that.
And I guess I was wrong, but I'm glad I was, because I had never. This is one that I have never seen.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I've never seen this episode, and I mean, it was so good. So let's get into
season 1 stories. Usually, were pretty well developed. You know, season 2 we had a mix, and then by season 3 it was very formulaic. But some of these season 1 ones are real gems.
Now this one had me, I'm watching this going, this is so good. Why did this show get canceled? But I guess you just explained that it kind of gets repetitive later on in the series.
It becomes less story driven and more action driven. I think that a lot of critique early on was that it was too cerebral for television. I can see the argument through the light of 1960s Americana, but I think they did a disservice as the show went on to highlight more of that action. I think season 2 is a nice balance. But by season 3, it's all kind of right out of the gate action, red alert kind of thing. The Fred Freiberger touch, as I like to call it.
So it kind of turns into New Trek, where everything has to be a shoot 'em up.
Yeah. A lot of phasers being drawn and ship battles, things like that.
Now, do you think that's because they kind of got bored with the characters and didn't know what kind of situations to put them in to flesh them out? Or was it just, a shot at ratings? Because Fridays, it moved to Fridays, right?
Mm-hmm.
At 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock? What time was it on?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was like 8:30 to 9:30. Because, and I don't think you and I ever encountered that, where they would put an hour show starting in the half-hour blocks.
No.
But apparently that was very common back then. You would do your half-hour sitcom, then an hour drama, and then maybe another half-hour short show at the end of the night, or the news. A lot of times the news came on at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
And primetime actually started at 7. And by the time we were growing up, primetime started at 8.
Right. Because people were working later and had to travel and get home, I guess. But we start this episode off in orbit of, is it Tantalos 5?
Tantalus 5, yep.
And it's a penal colony that has a rehab program.
So when I heard rehab, I was thinking a bunch of drunks, but okay.
Yeah. But isn't it a rehab facility?
It is it is a mental rehabilitation facility. Oh, I'm so glad you captured this slide. Because you know what I'm going to point out here, right?
No, what do you?
Well, if you look clearly, there's an extra sticker where it says doctor.
Oh yeah,
And it was like,
it's like
wow. Talk about wanting to be so proper. They like, you can't send this. You didn't put his title on there.
yeah. Get me the sticky pad.
Get me the label maker.
Where's the post-it notes?
Yeah, that I kind of cracked up when I saw that because I just assumed that somebody didn't spell doctor wrong.
Now, is that? I mean, it looks like a bottle of drugs, but apparently, I think it's like 3 feet tall.
Yeah. So, is it just like a filled with giant pills, or are there a lot of regular size
Right.
pills in there?
It's got 50 doses. Take 3 times a day.
Yeah, yeah. There's about
And
25
it's
pills in there. They weigh 8 pounds apiece.
Right. They look like a bowling ball. So we have 2, I guess, idiots on the transporters, and they can't figure out that they have to lower the shields before they can beam the drugs in. And
Yeah,
luckily,
I quit first day on the job transporter tech. Yeah.
yeah, that would not be the. I'll wait for the next one.
Yeah, yeah. It's my first time. You're on the pad going, no. Yeah, yeah.
So
And, yeah, go ahead.
then they bring this box. This box comes from the facility, and there's a special prize.
Okay, can we talk about the box for a second?
No, okay.
Let's talk about the box for a second. Okay.
I think I know where you're going.
Okay, there's 2 things. Classified materials, and he's able to open it from the inside. There's no lock on this box. Okay. So it's about as safe as, I don't know, leaving classified materials next to your Corvette.
Yeah, that's that.
Secondly, do not open until Christmas or ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I didn't know where you were going because I'm reading the label on the box.
Go ahead.
It's from the Bureau. It sounds like the Bill Clinton Library, the Bureau of Penology.
Yeah. You open it up and there's a bunch of rubber dongs in there or something. Yeah, yeah, that kind of caught my attention too. Or it's going to Stockholm.
Well, Stockholm in Eurasia, Nebraska.
It's a Swedish made enlarger. Like, that's why they don't want it opened.
Yes. Oh my
The
gosh.
box opens up and you just see them all come out.
Yeah.
There's Van Gelder. Yeah.
Close the box. I'm not done yet. This is the original Blue Chew, I guess.
Yeah.
So he inside the box is one of the criminals from the penile colony or penal, the penal colony. Yeah.
Now, what cracks me up, he's wearing an air mask. Clearly, the box isn't sealed. It's not even locked. Not sure why he was worried about suffocating. It just kind of caught me as very odd, and I don't think they left it outside for anybody to pick up. So not sure why, but okay, he's wearing an air mask.
And then we have Joey Transporter Tech just out of the shower and writing his notes down. And he's being sneaked up upon. Now, here, is he staring at the transporter tech? You know, because the box opens to the back of the transporter.
Yeah.
So he really wouldn't be looking at anything.
Yeah, no, in fact, this shot, if you really think about it, that panel in the background shouldn't be visible in this shot.
Right.
Yeah. Which cracks me up, right? It's almost like a Jack in the Box coming out. And notice how Morgan Woodward, who I think was sensational in this episode, the eyes when he opens the box sells the scene. He's got the craziest wild look, and all of this is covered with the wonderful mask. You just see those eyes, and you're like, oh, this guy's nuts.
Yeah. So we get the title shot, Dagger of the Mind, and I believe that was is that a line from Shakespeare?
Macbeth, yes.
Yeah. So Kirk and Bones are talking. He said, "Oh, I'd like to meet Dr. Adams. He seems like he's a genius." And Dr. Adams is the one who is working on a system of I don't know, how would you put it, reprogramming. Do they know that yet, or is that something you find out?
I think he develops, but Adams has a reputation for being stellar in the field. And, Kirk, being up on the latest advancements in criminal rehabilitation, knows all about this guy's reputation and, almost hero worship. Oh, I wish I could have met him. And I'm thinking, this is not Lou Gehrig. This is a psychologist, but okay, whatever.
So they get a warning that a potentially violent case has escaped their facility, and they think he's boarded the Enterprise, and he knocks out the transporter tech and takes his. Well, he's not really a transporter tech because. Isn't he called he's like hey, you from engineering or something like that when in the hallway?
Yeah, he's wearing engineering color. And I have seen those uniforms in blue too. So there must be science techs and engineering techs. It always makes me think of Pajama Day on the Enterprise when I see that though. But those coveralls, man, they're very popular in the 22nd century because when they beam down to the penal colony, everybody's wearing them with that weird kind of 1970s church symbol on the side of it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what that kind of reminded me of the Lost.
Yeah, I could see it.
When they I don't know, is it a flashback to when the island travels back in time?
Back in time, yeah.
And goes to where the island is run by that guy with the crazy eyes. So he says, "Hey, you from engineering." And
okay.
Overpowered
day one
again.
Transporter chief meet day one security officer. That guy gets taken out in seconds.
Yeah. So we find out that he's clever and he's actually on the Enterprise, and the crew is now going to be on the hunt. So they don't need to hunt too long because he comes right to the bridge and cracks this guy in the back of the neck.
It's my first day.
There's a lot of first dayers on this episode.
Everybody wearing a red shirt is a rank amateur in this episode. You're standing guard. Maybe you want to be facing the door. I'm not telling you how to do your job, but there's only one way off and on that bridge. Maybe you stand on the other side.
Or have somebody inside the elevator.
Like an elevator operator?
Yeah. So we have
Deck 7, engineering. Deck 6, ladies' lingerie. Deck 5, menswear.
we have he goes inside, takes out the security crew member, and he's trying to figure out who Captain Kirk is, and we get that extreme lighting on Kirk's face again. Makes him look really, really tough. And then this is where I thought it got really good, because he was like, anytime he tried to speak, he could not get the words out.
The flash of pain that plays over his face, just incredible.
Yeah, and it turns out that he's Van Gelder. And we don't know who Van Gelder is yet.
Not to be confused with Van Wilder.
Right.
It was a completely different franchise.
And he just wants not to go back.
He's desperate not to go back.
Yeah. And he really looked like he did not want to go back. And then there's a great little nod. If you see Kirk's eyes kind of hint over to the left,
Yep.
Spock gets the message, and that's another clue that the crew, these guys are coalescing together and getting the signals that the silent signals that they could give each other.
And Spock starts sliding over.
And then you notice Kirk starts to walk to the left
To get him to turn.
And this is where I think it went a little off. I didn't need the Kirk kick.
Kirk Fu.
Yeah, I didn't need the Kirk Fu. I think it would have been better if he had just gotten him to turn and just let Spock do it. Just give him the neck pinch. Without having to have, a punch thrown or the kick or anything. I think that I would have liked that a little bit better.
Yeah, I thought it was unnecessary too.
So he gets the pinch and he's out.
Wait, go back 2 slides. So right after this scene, go back one more. Right after this scene, everybody rushes around Van Gelder, totally ignoring the poor guy laying on the floor in the background. Nobody, including McCoy, goes to check him out, who's been unconscious for the past 10 minutes. Just cracked me up when I watched it.
Yeah. And she's still sitting, now she's leaning on the counter, taking a rest. But
sitting with buttons there.
We get a nice
view.
Yeah, it's pretty neat the way they this is one of those shots that you're not going to get in the original. So I was appreciative of this shot. It gave you a pretty cool look at the Enterprise as it flies by, and they get Van Gelder down to sick bay, and McCoy he says he pumps him up with, I don't even remember how many.
Almost 3 times the amount to calm him down.
Yeah, I mean, and he mentions that he would start to talk and then seem like he's going crazy and then change the subject.
McCoy's the first one to get an inkling that something's going on.
Yeah, he was really good in this episode. I really enjoyed, he didn't have much to do, after this section of the episode, but
Yeah, because he even says there's a hint of truth in what he's saying. It's all he's just trying to convey his instinct
Right.
to Kirk, and Kirk trusts him enough to believe his instinct.
And then we have Kirk is just like, let's take him back and we'll drop him off. And Van Gelder, starts to get really nasty about, oh yeah, it's always somebody else's problem. Let me just hand it off and turn around and leave and not even worry about what's going on. And has this guy been in anything else?
He has been in a ton of westerns. In fact, he is in the Cowboy Western Hall of Fame.
Really?
For his multiple appearances. He's done some war movies, and he shows up in another episode of Star Trek in about 6 or 7 episodes from now. He was on Dallas for a while in the 80s. I mean, he worked consistently.
Because he is really good. He was really good.
Fantastic. And I did a little deep dive on this. He actually credits this role with getting him out of the cowboy stereotype typecasting. And he felt he did his best work in his career in this episode. And it affected him so badly that he couldn't shake this mindset for a couple of weeks after filming.
Wow. That's how much he sunk himself into the role.
Oh, completely. And it's if you've ever known anybody in the midst of a breakdown, this is scary accurate. It's like scary right on what he's going through. The oscillations between anger and pity here. Like, he looks pathetic, and then 2 seconds later, he looks like a raving animal. And you can see him struggling, especially like when you said he's trying to even get his name out. That inner turmoil that he's struggling with, and it's all played on his face.
And this right here, when he does his, I called it the Riddler laugh. I mean, it was spooky, to put it mildly. And then he calms down again.
Yep.
Just great. Just a great portrayal of this character. Then he gets angry again, and they gotta.
Here comes the hypo spray.
And they gotta pump him with the spray. And then Spock is back on the bridge, and he's reading the library tapes. So, in 200 years, we won't have MP3s anymore. It'll be back to tape.
If we've made the circle all the way back to vinyl, I don't see why we don't make it way back to tape.
Yeah. And now Kirk is realizing that he actually is Dr. Van Gelder. And now I don't. The voice on the radio that comes across, and he's like, "Is Dr. Van Gelder all right?" I mean, I knew the voice before I could picture the actor before I actually saw him. I couldn't point where I'd known him from, what other old shows, but it's the type of voice that, like when he says, "Is Dr. Van Gelder all right? Are you and your people no injuries?" He just sounds so slimy.
Yeah, and what's amazing during that sequence, right? as the episode plays on, you realize how sinister this is, because as a man of science, as a man who studies human nature, he's already got it mapped out and knows exactly how to manipulate them to get them down there. He's reassuring, oh, you keep your phaser, it's okay. You know, I know how you would feel naked without it. And, you know, when Helen suggests dropping the titles, and he's so magnanimous about the whole thing, and it's, to me, it's kind of like the spider and the fly. You know,
Right.
like, come into my parlor, come on.
And he tries to blame it on Van Gelder. Van Gelder, he says Van Gelder was doing some work that got out of hand.
And this is what I love. All he has to say are those 5 simple words. Doesn't press him why, doesn't ask for a better explanation than that. It's good enough. It's good enough for Jim Kirk. If Bones is saying something doesn't ring true here, okay, let's find out.
And they're saying that,
bored.
huh?
Spock looks completely bored by the conversation.
Yeah, he's like, I could have told you that.
And we got a little bit of preachiness here. Wouldn't be Star Trek without it.
Now, this is where they say, oh, he asks, are there other hospitals on the way? Can you take him to another hospital? And McCoy's like, he knows there's no other hospital that's up to these standards. So is that another way of tricking them to get him back down there, bring him back down here? And
look how concerned I am. I want him to get the best, even if it's not here. Meanwhile, he knows they have to come back.
Right.
It's just another attempt at manipulation.
Yeah. Are you passing by any nearby hospital facilities superior to ours? Just drop them off there and they'll take care of them.
Mercy Point?
Yeah. That didn't last too long.
That didn't last too long.
Of course, Kirk wants to. Kirk's going to go down there, and he needs an assistant to go with him. So, of course, they're going to send the hottest one that they can find, right?
I love that sequence. When we get to it, I love that sequence.
He's got a little smirk, and he's got the eyebrow up, and he's like, one of our psychiatrists does have a background in rehabilitative therapy. And
I bet she does.
She can really rehabilitate.
I will tell you, I think Mariana Hill here was probably one of the most beautiful actresses to ever appear in a Star Trek episode.
Spock even thinks so.
Yeah, even Spock thinks so. Do you know what famous movie she was in?
No, she does look familiar.
Okay. She was Mrs. Fredo Corleone.
Really?
Yes, she was Fredo's wife in Godfather 2. And she worked nonstop through the 70s and 80s. She did a lot of television.
And I guess there was this
back to
big
Starfleet HR issues.
Yes.
So I would like to see an episode what happened at that Christmas party, quite frankly.
Well, we do get a shot of what the Christmas party looked like later on. But is that something that she plants? Well, we'll
Yes.
get when we get there.
When we get there, but
Yeah.
it's great to see Kirk looking so uncomfortable. Yeah. Nice to know they still celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, in space.
In space. Space Christmas.
So then we
So-
beam down to the top hat in the desert, surrounded by large candles.
Architecture by Cad Bane.
That's true. Yeah.
it's like Cad Bane's head. Yeah.
So they get into the elevator and it drops suddenly.
And apparently
And-
Kirk has a horrible fear of elevators the way he runs and clutches her like a
He's-
small child.
He's saving her.
I think if it was me, I would have gone a different choice with the scene. Yeah. And here we go.
And then there he is. Now, I know you know where this guy's from. I've seen him so many times. I want to say like Hawaii Five-0, but I'm sure everybody that was on this show at one time appeared on Hawaii Five-0.
He definitely was on Hawaii Five-0. But, you must know his most famous role. Inspector Frank Luger, Barney Miller.
We're back to... Oh, right. Okay.
Hey
All
there,
right.
Vaughn. He'd always plop into Barney's office with that top hat and the bow tie.
Mm-hmm.
Inspector Luger. He also was in Beneath the Planet of the Apes. He was the gorilla general.
Okay, so that's why I recognize the voice.
Where'd you got now? after he shoots the bomb with the machine gun. And he also starred or co-starred in probably one of the greatest movies. It's one of my top 10 movies. He was in The Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra, which if you haven't seen it, people, go out and see that movie. Fantastic film.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen the Denzel Washington one.
Terrible film. If you can, seek out The Manchurian Candidate. It's fantastic movie, way ahead of its time. Just great film.
And then there we have the dove and the sun logo.
Yes, he's representing
ET
the Society for Squashing Tiny Birds Under the Sun.
Yes.
Tree.
With I mean, look at that thumb. That's the thumb made for hitchhiking.
Now, is it me, or I'm just going to say, is it a little racist of the Federation to assume everybody's got 5 fingers?
Yeah, maybe. You know? And he's like infatuated with this doctor for some reason.
Now, in that scene, note, he's handing Kirk just a little palm phaser.
Right.
Phaser 1. I'll bring this up later. Okay.
So we're gonna I think we'll be able to get through the security screen, Captain. I'll turn it off, which was kind of spooky too. Because he's not even looking at him, and he knows what he's trying to do.
Yep, he just goes over. Yep, he's in total control of everything there. And these 2 strangers coming down, the incident with Vet Gelder, he's not sweating it at all.
And then this guy walks in.
Lethe. Yeah. I love my work. I literally go into work every day and say that with the same intonation in my voice. Yeah.
And then the music cue behind that.
Yeah.
Kind of gives it away. It was really, really good.
The standard creepy Star Trek music cue. She looks like Mrs. Roper in that dress.
I was going to say Mr. Roper in that dress, but So now all of a sudden she is becoming. She is like on the doctor's side. Now does the doctor? I mean, is she? I don't know. Is she looking to prove herself to the doctor, or is it just story? To make the story ease a little bit better.
Well, I think she's telling the truth that they're, at this time, a lot of what they're doing is sound from a medical psychiatry standpoint. And I think she's treating him more like a colleague, an esteemed colleague, than anything else. Saying, the basis of what they're doing here isn't all that unusual until we see the chair.
And that's that Seinfeld lighting again.
Yes. By the way, in this shot, if you look over Kirk's shoulder, we see those beautiful purple rocks that appeared in the previous episode. They reused a lot of the set and lighting.
And probably the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that.
We don't see Rock running around in the background.
Right.
But yes. This episode happened to be directed by the same director who did the last episode. So here, Van Gelder's coming out of it a little bit.
And Spock knows exactly what he needs to do. And I wonder what... See, this is why I would love to invite some folks that were around watching these for the first time, because what do you think people thought when Spock grabs his head and does a mind meld?
It definitely was out there. I mean, just even the concept of touching somebody's head and being able to read their thoughts. And this played very differently. They, from what I was reading, had a couple of different approaches they wanted to do, like holding the guy's stomach and holding his head, and and I think Nimoy was the one who really gave the most feedback that less is more when it comes to this. Even the way it's shot, with that tight close-up, showing the intimacy of that bond, was genius, I thought, because it's the two of them merging their thoughts together. You've got that beautiful, nice, tight close-up, and through the dialogue, who are we? Right. We are something bigger. So they sell it beautifully on every level.
Yeah, and you have Van Gelder here talking about the neural neutralizer, giving us, the impression that we're one step ahead. The crew is now one step ahead of the Doctor, because now we know what the neural neutralizer is. And Spock's like, "Can you explain that?" And he says, "It's a room that they sit you in, and it's lights, and they wipe your brain, and now all of a sudden they're in the room." And the Doctor's like, "Yeah, this is our neural neutralizer. Welcome."
That's a 2258 neural neutralizer. You're gonna love this, Captain. It's got all the bells and whistles, fully loaded.
Well, that's not only it. Is before they even got there, he's like, "Well, I'm sorry you had to see this. I was hoping you wouldn't have to see this, Captain, because This was one of our failures.
Yep.
It's a neural
we get-
neutralizer.
Keep it here to remind us that nobody's perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. And what's creepy is the assistant there. Just like Lethe, they've got that blank kind of. How many people has he been using this on?
And watching it back, because I watched it 2 or 3 times, because that's how much I enjoyed it, and I noticed these things on the second. I think it was the second watch. This is kind of like Heinz Reinhardt and the black hole, where he wipes everybody's mind to control them, because he knows he's not going to get away with what he wants to do with going into the black hole.
Right.
So he's got to get everybody on his side, and he doesn't care how he's going to do it.
Better living through lobotomy. And then we have the Eye of Sauron. Oh no, wait, sorry. We have this wonderfully simple and effective plasticine light.
Yes, HAL 1000.
Yeah. Again, a lot of buttons here to control this.
Well, he even says. I mean, he's like, one turns it on, the other one turns the power up.
That's the bass and that's the treble, and yeah,
it's all about the bass.
Yeah.
And then he's like making jokes. You remind me of the ancient skeptic who demanded of the wise old sage. And she's again agreeing with Dr. Adams.
Captain, this egomaniac is fine. I'm telling you.
Yeah. And then this poor sap in the chair.
In the woman's blouse.
He gets zapped and told, "You're not going to remember any of this, and it'll cause you pain and suffering, and anytime you even think about it."
Okay, so now Spock is giving McCoy his report of the mind meld.
Well, I don't think they've done it yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Sorry. This is where he finally decides to do it.
Yeah. So we're learning that the plan is underway to basically keep this facility a secret.
But Kirk wants to stay over.
Yeah, we want to hang out one night, We want to revisit the Christmas party of 2289. And this was great. He's like, "No, don't let him stay. Don't let him stay." And I thought this was going to play out a little bit differently, like check back in every 4 hours. But I guess, did they not make it 4 hours?
Yeah, that was the impression I got. They didn't make it 4 hours. Because they do the mind meld right after he closes his communicator. They're off to find that room again.
Right.
So, yeah.
So here Spock is explaining the mind meld, because this is the first mind meld we've ever seen.
That's right.
And do you know where they came up with the idea for the mind meld? Was it just one of those
It was just in the script.
Right, but did they say that, how can we? Was there like a character log for Spock that said, he can do this, and this, or Was it just something that they said, how can we get this information out of the guy? Because every time we talk to him, he goes crazy. We need to figure out a way to...
So there's early references to Spock having a hypnotic quality with women, which is just drivel. So I believe in the script there's a reference to Vulcanian hypnosis, which is pretty broad term. So and a little hokey. You know, what was he going to do? You know, watch the Idic, watch the Idic. You know, it doesn't work. So I think it just kind of naturally progressed from discussions on the set how that was going to work.
And then, I don't know, does I guess McCoy doesn't even know what this is.
Yeah, it's like you know, again, revisionist history. It's like nobody knew about this, but, you know, in later Star Trek, mind melds are pretty common knowledge. Again, given the secrets that you know, for an advanced people, the Vulcans really like to keep their secrets. You know, and look at Pon farr. Apparently nobody knew about that.
Until Star Trek 3.
No, in the episode that in Amok Time, you know.
Yeah.
The biology of Vulcans. Yes, you know what you're talking about, Jim. Yeah. Really? Every 7 years? Yeah, yes, Captain. Yes. So maybe they just didn't talk openly about it with outsiders, like, you know, where disappearing head ridges went, like Worf said about the Klingons.
Mm-hmm.
You don't talk about it with outsiders. Throwaway line. There you go. Mystery solved.
Now this is the first mind meld. When does it go to the one-handed chin, cheek, temple?
I think the next time he does it, we get more of that traditional, you know, your mind to my mind, your thoughts to my thoughts kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I think in this case, he's laying down. Most times Spock does a mind meld, the subject is standing straight up.
Right.
So I think it's just natural progression not to have to grab a head like this, or like in this case, going behind him to try and get both faces in the frame. I think it's the only logical way they could have done it. Wait, go back one slide. That one where, yeah, go back one more. When I saw this, I giggled because this is the exact body position I use when I try to get my dog's mouth open when she's got something that's supposed to have.
You gotta take your pill.
Open up, open up, open up. What did you have?
So now Kirk is asking, what do you think of the other inmates? And I mean, she's like, oh, they seem fine, except for the cold blank stare.
Yeah. You know, that is weird now that you mention it, Captain. And the drool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Spock doing the who are we molding, you know, into his, or melding into his mind. And this guy now looks completely relaxed, like not a care in the world, and just ready to start a day.
Serenity now.
So then we get what the description of what the neuralizer, or the neural neutralizer does. and it's a memory wipe.
So this is interesting. He erased our memory. If he erased your memory, how do you have a memory that he erased your memory? So maybe the machine is faulty. It's not so much erasing as it is
Suppressing with pain.
suppressing. Yes.
So then we have Kirk, who's like, this does not look like it's the safest of machines. Why don't I go sit in it and you turn it on?
That's why he's the captain. The only thing missing from that scene was him yelling, "Fire this sucker up." He just went in there, got in the chair.
Well, he likes chairs.
Yeah, he does. He does. He does.
So then he goes blank, and then he says, "Anytime you're ready, just turn it on for a second or two." And she's like, "We already turned it on."
Mr. Captain. So this is kind of like a Mitch McConnellizer, where
Yes.
he just go blank for a few seconds.
That could be the name of it. Yes.
Okay, now I take umbrage with this because I really don't know how harmless this upcoming suggestion was.
Well, that'll have to go through HR first.
Yeah. So,
Oh, this one is the hungry. You're hungry.
yes, which clearly by the end of this episode has been in his subconscious for the next 50 years.
Because he hasn't eaten anything yet.
Yeah. So, as we saw, that uniform just kept expanding and expanding and expanding.
Can't understand why why they say it doesn't work.
Well, it seems to be working fine. So this is a little weird. An unusual suggestion, something we can be sure of, right? So instead of just saying, when you awaken and I say the word, chicken, you're going to stand up and sing the Star Spangled Banner, or have an incredible urge to sing the Star Spangled Banner. No, she decides, a professional psychiatrist, keep in mind, to implant a whole bunch of alternate dirty thoughts in his head.
like he needed more.
Yeah. She essentially gives a book of matches to an arsonist. What could go wrong?
Remember that time you tried to get me drunk and take me back to my quarter?
Remember that time you got to second base in the supply closet in the science lab? We're going to take that a little further right now.
And here we get I guess this is a shot of the memories that she's implanted.
Yep. He sweeps her up into his cabin.
A little foggy.
It's a little foggy.
Little mist around the edges.
There's a background shot, I don't know if you captured it, where it's all red light in the background. Oh, there it is. A little sexy red light going on there. Remember, this is her boss.
Yeah.
So, really, and look at the smile on his face. He's fine with it.
And then we get surprised with the doctor, and he now wants to turn this thing up to 11.
And can I say what a nice job Shatner does in this sequence? He doesn't overact, in my opinion. He's very restrained, and he sells it. Again, the whole episode between Morgan Woodward, James Gregory, and William Shatner, they sell the episode.
And don't forget the other two, because McCoy,
Yep.
with his little lines of this he's not lying. They're lying to you, Captain. And Spock, when he got the hint of the eye line change and sneak up behind him. I mean, they all just.
Yeah. See, when McCoy was not written as a raving lunatic who would come on the bridge, get 5 lines, make a racial insult towards Spock, and then leave, he was a great character. And so many of these first season episodes end with not Spock standing next to Jim, but McCoy standing behind the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a dynamic that changed. Okay, so now we have our little hand phaser.
And he tells him to. He's trying to call the Enterprise, and they turn it up to 11. And I wonder what makes it that Kirk is able to snap out of it so quickly.
I think he's just a strong person. Because I think even Dr. Adams says something like, I'm impressed, but Dr. Van Gelder was on the floor sobbing by this point. So I think it's just that Jim Kirk has a strong will, and he's fighting it. But again, I kind of scratched my head because trying to contact the Enterprise at that point is pointless. The shield is up.
Right.
No communication is going to get through. So you're not doing yourself any favor there.
Except pain.
Yeah.
And then we're back in the cell room, or his quarters, and he says something to the effect of, they didn't even ask me any questions.
Yeah. The other thing is, she's in the control room. He's talking in the speaker. Why doesn't she start yelling counter commands into the microphone? Yeah. They didn't have her mouth covered.
And this is where he breaks out of it.
Yeah, he snaps out of it. I remember.
He's slowly coming out of it. And then he's sends her down the air duct.
Come on, come down to Tantalus 5. Have a few drinks. It'll be fun.
Yeah. And then
there's another Christmas connection.
That's it. This is the Christmas episode.
Yep. Closest will come. Now, Jim Kirk beams down with his tiny little hand phaser. Why is the penal colony better armed than Kirk when he comes down? They've got phaser 2.
Do they allow weapons?
That's a great question. Where'd they even come from?
Right. And then she's crawling through the cleanest air ducts I've ever seen.
Well, maintenance droids, they come in, sweep up. Thank God they have all that purple light in there, too, because you wouldn't be able to find your way around without it.
And then we have, he's back in the chair. And he's going to finish the job.
So yeah, here's where the veil is just completely ripped down, and you just see what an egotistical psychopath Adams actually is. And you got to remember, we're only at this point 20 years removed from the end of World War II, where horrible, evil doctors went unchecked doing all kinds of horrible, terrible experiments.
Mm-hmm.
So, that kind of hit home for me too. Here's this guy, a physician who, first oath is to do no harm, and that's all he's doing. He's not even defending why he's doing it. He's not saying, I have success. This does work. He's just doing it for almost his own kind of, for lack of a better word, amusement.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I thought they were going to go down the road of this not actually being Dr. Adams, this being one of the patients who got control of the chair.
That would have been an interesting twist.
And somehow they were able to forge the records that this guy was Dr. Adams, and that's why Van Gelder escaped. He was finally able to get free, so he thought he could go warn everybody that that Adams, Adams is dead. He's been dead for years. When I got here, because he just moved in, right? Van Gelder just arrived. Yeah. What did they say? 6 months ago, something like that. So when Van Gelder gets in, it could have been that he discovered that this is not Adams. I know Dr. Adams, and this is not Dr. Adams.
Or how about this? What, that whole cover story where Van Gelder went in the machine and went crazy? Why wasn't that Adams' story? That Adams went in the machine, Adams went crazy, then took over. That you'd at least feel sympathetic for, because none of this would be his fault. But there's nothing redeemable here. He didn't think he was doing good. He wasn't misguided. He's just like, ooh, I have a fun toy here. Let's see how far I can go with it.
Right, because he, if he was one of the patients in the rehab center, then you can see that, okay, he's just a psycho that got control of this room and wiped everybody's memory out. And it was Van Gelder escaping that let everybody know.
Now there's facial acting.
There it is. And he's got it up to 11 again. And then Kirk finally hits the floor, and his spandex shirt that keeps the belly in.
His girdle, we can say it.
His girdle is showing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's sneaking through and trying to get to the room that has the power supply.
Okay, now this cracked me up. It's mega voltage. If you'll touch it, you'll die instantly. I hate to break this to you, Jim, but regular voltage in your house, if you touch it, will kill you instantly. So, and it's also nice to know that they borrowed some props from Batman with the giant labels on everything.
Well, that's the thing is, like, I don't know if I was able to catch the when Spock gets down there. So they want to get him back in the chair, and he gets picked up. This guy gets punched. Adams gets a karate chop in the back, and then this guy gets a punch. So Kirk does probably it was ABAABA up. So we get fatality.
Now, did he take? Didn't see him take anybody's weapon. I may have missed it.
I don't think he did.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now this cracks me up. Right? They're ready to send down again. The source of the interruption. Does he know that the force field is definitely down again, Mr. I don't learn from my mistakes? You said there was a power interruption, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to stay down.
There's a little tiny pinhole in the shield. So now, yes. So now this guy's gone from I can't figure out how to get this giant tub of pills sent down to I can put you right into this, right through the. I can thread that needle.
Yep. Listen, this is my second day. I got this under control now.
And you mentioned weapons. At least she's smart enough to grab a weapon.
She grabs a weapon, right? Great. Perfect. That's what we need. She also kills a guy. I think she's the only female in Star Trek Federation history who kills somebody on screen.
So we have Spock. Spock beams down, and I didn't get a shot of it. I tried so hard. I couldn't quite actually freeze frame it on the image that I wanted. But he turns the power back up.
Yeah, thanks, Spock.
And then walks over to another set of switches after he opens the door up, and starts punching buttons, and that label actually says security shield power.
Yeah. So we had to turn it back on to turn it back off.
Yeah. So it was Spock was the head of Microsoft support. Have you turned it off and turned it on?
What's even better about that scene? Now the security shield is critically important, right? The switches are in a box that is locked with a luggage padlock. And Spock, who's carrying a phaser, decides to try and bang the lock off instead of just shooting it. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's better than just putting a label on it that says "Do not open."
Yeah, that's true. Don't worry, we're good. It's got a label on it. They won't open it.
We get back to the lab, and this guy's been knocked out, and they turn the machine on, and I guess they just fry his brain.
Well, the machine was on, right? When Kirk left them. They were
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think it would have been on, because that when they had the fight.
Weren't they trying to get him back in the chair when the light was on?
So wouldn't they all have been affected?
Yeah. But he's the only one who... Where'd the other two guys go? I had to go back and watch.
And a happy reunion, because apparently he still is madly in love with her from the suggestions.
Maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, it is Jim Kirk.
And he's hungry. He needs a sandwich.
My favorite reaction shot. This again.
Right, you would expect this like towards like the middle or ending of season 2, where it's like, oh, can you keep it in your shorts?
He's like, another report to HR.
And security comes down, and they start rounding up the patients.
And Kirk has got a regular phaser 2 now. So I don't know where he got that from.
Probably hers.
Or maybe he took hers. Of course. There we go.
And that's the first time he says that. Because he never actually says he's dead Jim. Right?
Yeah, he does. We're still a little while away from that. Remember, everybody's still finding their groove here.
And then Kirk gives us the, can you imagine the mind emptied by that thing? And I was so tempted to put a picture of Joe Biden in there. But I don't think he was. What are we
doing? What's going on?
The thing. The light from the ceiling.
The thing that goes like that. I've been on that penal colony. That's right. Classified. I didn't take them. They went up there with the big medicine bottle.
And then the box. The box that was locked behind my Corvette.
Yeah.
But that was a kick-ass episode. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was a great episode. And considering too that this was a lot of reuse sets, we said from the previous episode, you'll notice no Scotty, no Sulu, which was done in an attempt to save money. So I think they both would have been paid about $890 each to appear in the episode. And they went with non-speaking extras. In 2024 dollars, that was an approximate savings of $8,700 a piece. So they saved $16,000 plus by not having those two appear in the show.
So going back here, I'm in the Star Trek Compendium. Yeah, you have one of these, right?
Yes, sure do.
So it says here the script for Dagger of the Mind required a device to provide access to Van Gelder's mind. Earlier drafts contained a lengthy scene in which a machine containing colored lights is used to hypnotize the patient. Before Star Trek's staff writers were thorough reworking. Before Star Trek's staff writers were through reworking this sequence, they had devised the Vulcan mind meld, one of the most important developments in Spock's character.
So that was probably a cost-saving thing too, because to build yet another device with blinky lights aboard the Enterprise would have blown up the budget even higher.
Yeah.
So necessity is the mother of invention.
As late as the final draft, it was Janice Rand, not Helen Noel, who accompanied Kirk to Tantalus 5.
That would make no sense.
It's interesting that although Rand would enjoy 2 other appearances in Star Trek, she was not permitted to appear in this episode as a woman the captain falls madly in love with.
Okay.
But doesn't Janice kind of have the hots for?
Yeah, they kind of realized that they couldn't have the captain's attention divided between a woman and Spock. No, just kidding, and his ship. So I think that's why, amongst other reasons, that she was let go.
And it says this may be the clearest indication as why Janice was soon to be written out of the Trek format. after backing Kirk into a corner by creating the possibility of a relationship between the two and attempted R word in The Enemy Within, Janice wanting to show Kirk her legs in Miri, someone probably decided that such a relationship would not only limit the series, but the range of Kirk's entanglements. I guess as a womanizer.
I get it.
Hey, Mr. Mark D with a C, how are you? Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it worked out for the best. I think, having a regular presence like that would have been a distraction. And I think the person who benefited the most out of it was Nichelle. Because, again, this is an episode she had very, very little to do in. But without Janice there, I think some of the lines that would have gone to Janice eventually wound up going to Nichelle in future episodes.
Right. Where was I? James Gregory's lovingly diabolical portrayal of Dr. Adams makes up for many defects in the story, but Morgan Woodward's Van Gelder who steals the show. Woodward's pain and intensity are frighteningly convincing, and the actor's operatic training gave him great vocal projection and control. Woodward also appeared as Captain Tracy in the Omega Glory. Did that have a hole in the script, that one?
No, that's another great performance by him, though. Yeah, I almost watched that one after that. After watching this one today, it was like, oh yeah, he was Captain Ron Tracy. I'm like, that's a good episode. And then I was like, I'm gonna watch them in order.
The chair in the neural neutralizer room is also seen in Operation Annihilate and an altered form in Whom Gods Destroy.
Yep, that prop comes back. Whom Gods Destroy, where we visit another penal colony.
Now, in this book, we have Dagger of the Mind coming in at number 11. And the next episode in the book, number 12, is Miri. So these, I guess...
Maybe that's production order or air date order. What's the air dates?
I don't think it says.
Okay.
Star date is 27/15, and then Miri is 27/13. So they go back in time.
Yeah, we've already done that. Yeah, so that has to be air date, I would guess.
So what do you have as the next episode coming up?
The next episode we have coming up is the one with Baylock. The name is escaping me right now. Hold on a second. I guess I have to turn in my Trekkie card because I should know off the top of my head.
Because in the book here, it's, like I said, Miri, and then the one after that
Carbonite
is
Maneuver.
Okay, because this one, in the book, it's Miri, and then Conscience of the King.
Well, on Paramount Plus, it segued right into Carbonite Maneuver. That's a tough one to say. Which, according to what we have here, So season 1 episodes.
See, I don't even see that one in the book yet.
So let's see, 4, 5, 6. What are little girls made of? Then Miri. So the next one I have up is episode 10, the Corbomite maneuver. And
episode 10 in the book is what little girls are made of.
so if we look at that, right? So What Little Girls Are Made Of aired October 20th, 66. Miri aired October 27th, 66. Dagger of the Mind, November 3rd, 66. Corbomite Maneuver, November 10th, 66.
And then where's Conscience of the King show up? Because
December 8th, 1966.
so I don't even see the Corbomite maneuver in here. Oh no, here it is. This is number 3. The Corbomite maneuver is number 3 in this book. Stardate 1512. So if he reads the if he's doing his intro in the beginning, Captain's Log, Stardate, we're gonna jump back in time quite a ways.
I will get an answer for you.
Okay.
I will get an answer for you. So let's take a look here. There was one episode, if I remember correctly. This was a special effects heavy episode. So maybe the post work caused it to be aired later than when it was production order. Okay, let's go to my production order list. Okay, so according to this, Enemy Within, Naked Time, Charlie X. Okay, Conscious of the King would be. So according to what I have here, the production order is as follows. Corbomite Maneuver was number 3 in production order. So it actually went The Cage, Where No Man Has Gone Before, then the Corbomite Maneuver, then Mud's Women, then The Enemy Within, then The Man Trap, Naked Time, Charlie X, Balance of Terror, which we have not watched yet, What Little Girls Are Made Of, then Dagger of the Mind, then Miri, then Conscience of the King. So I guess Paramount has them in air date order, not production order.
All right. Well, that makes sense then. That's why I guess I thought Balance of Terror was this week, because I was going off of the book.
Yep.
So, well, to me, this is another. This is probably a 9 out of 10. This was a really good episode, and the two, I guess, one is a protagonist and one is the antagonist. What would you call Van Gelder?
I think it's fair to say he was the protagonist. You know, there, if you look at the episode as a whole, it's hard to tag anybody but Adams as the antagonist of everyone. You know, just an evil character.
He was good.
No, he was great.
He was.
And James Gregory was really adept at playing really bad people in a very disarming, charming kind of way.
Yeah, can you be charming in a evil kind of way, I guess? I mean, you know what? It was just so good.
Charming and menacing. Yeah, I think it's a rarity, but you can do it. Like Christoph Waltz in Inglourious Bastards, I think was charming and menacing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a fine line to play. But you're like, this guy is just evil incarnate, but you can't help on some level like the guy.
Yeah. What do you think of next week's episode? Before you rewatch it, how many times have you seen it? Is this another one? Have you seen 100?
I will tell you, this is probably one of my favorites. Good story, good character development, a twist ending. With a little bit of a story about not judging books by their cover. I think it's just a nice, tight episode, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to it because I'm enjoying the rewatch, and these episodes are getting better and better every week. So I can't wait for next week.
Yep, and then I think the week after that we have the Menagerie 2-parter.
And that one I've seen.
Yep.
So I don't. We'll have to. I'll sit down with a fresh pair of eyes and see what I can glean out of it. But Corbomite Maneuver is next week. Thanks for joining us on this holiday weekend. Happy Easter to everybody in your neck of the woods.
Same to you guys. And to everybody out there who celebrate, Happy Easter.
And we will see you next week right here on the Geek and I podcast. Hopefully, I will allow Debbie to return.
Are we voting on that?
We're gonna have a vote. Have you watched The Traitors?
No, not yet.
Is it on your list?
Oh, you don't want to see that list. Yes, it's on my radar to get on the list. So it's on the pre-list list.
It is so good. I am on season 2 now of Traitors UK. That's how good it is. Okay. I've jumped from the American version to the British version, which is so much better. I cannot tell you how difficult it was to sit through Alan Cummings and his flamboyant outfits. But he's
got a style, that's for sure.
He does. The chick who does the UK is really, really good. We're on the season finale tonight, I think. And then I'm going to jump over to Traitors Australia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a nice thing about I like the Peacock channel. It's got some good stuff on it.
Yeah, there's some great finds on there. Yeah.
So thanks again, Marty. Thank you for
of Brooklyn Nine-Nine now.
Yeah, is that any good?
Hysterical. Yeah. Yeah, definitely worth a watch.
And
I actually watched it when it was first on.
Didn't he just pass?
Yeah, he did. Andre Brower, we just lost.
And then today was Lou Gossett Jr.
Lou Gossett Jr., yeah. Deep respect for Lou Gossett Jr. I another one of these actors who elevated everything he was in.
Yeah.
Including Jaws 3. Yes.
Yeah.
Alvin
And then Iron Eagle. I remember Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle.
I keep saying
Chappie Sinclair, right?
He's not Iron Eagle. That's the announcer for the Jets.
Iron.
Or was.
It's Iron.
Iron Eagle. Yeah. So. All right, Marty. Happy Easter. We will see you next week. I'm going to a 10 o'clock show here in Texas of Godzilla X Kong. The
Awesome.
the new normal or something like that. I forget what it's called.
I think it's tag team monster fighting is basically what I understand. So
Yeah, be nice to compare -1 with.
I'm going in with lower expectations, but hey, it's Godzilla, man.
Right.
If you
How do you
put
feel about
Godzilla
Godzilla running?
You know what? Most times he don't have to run because, let's face it, he's the apex predator. So if he's running, he's got to have a damn good reason. So I'm really interested to see what's bringing that on.
Are you going to check it out soon, or?
Yes. So we're probably going to do Dune 2 tomorrow. And I just got to see what Connor's schedule is, because maybe we could do 2 movies tomorrow.
Oh, well, I mean, that's like 6 hours.
Yes. Well, I've done 9-12 hours in a sitting. So
Are you guys going to do the Spider-Man?
we were talking about it back and forth. We may go. We may go.
The problem with that is it's always Mondays, and around here it's not playing. It's playing in Plano, which is, gosh, at that time 7 o'clock ish. It's an hour drive. It's only like 20 miles, but it's like an hour and a half drive to get to Plano, and probably like $15 in tolls.
I was gonna say you do remember where you used to live, right? So an hour for 20 miles, that's
That is true. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 20 minutes used to take you an hour.
Yeah.
So
a 3-hour trip from here to Manhattan most times when I go pick him up.
How long is he
Doesn't
home
matter
for?
what time.
Is he on spring break or?
No, he was on break last week, so he's supposed to go back on Monday. But spoiler alert, he's supposed to go back Sunday night. But spoiler alert, he's probably going back on Monday.
Okay.
And missing 1 class. So.
All right. Well, tell him I said hi. Tell everybody down in the McDonald clan McDonald.
McDonald.
That I said hi and happy Easter. And we will catch you next week right here on, what is this? TGIFF? Federation Friday. That's right.
Yeah. We're not doing acronyms anymore. There's too many letters.
Yeah. And I've had too many peeps, so.
Okay.
I
Sugar rush.
I don't know what it is. It's wearing off. I think I need to go stop. I need to have like another pack of peeps.
There you go.
Get me through this movie tonight. We will see you guys next week. Thanks again for watching, and we'll let you know what we thought of Godzilla next week. Have a good night, everybody.
Crossed. All right. Bye, guys.